Hello my friends. We're getting into hurricane season in the south, and it affects the weather up north. So a lot of people are looking into backup power generation, and I found this generator at Aldi's at a really good price. The specifications of this almost are identical to a Honda 2000, and the price difference is about $700. This generator cost $329. The Honda 2000 cost about $1,000. So that's a considerable price difference, and the specifications are so close, even the weight of the machines are identical. So let's look and see what we have in here. So we have the user manual, funnel, this would be the spark plug wrench, and a can of oil or container of oil. One thing that I noticed, and this probably gets some people into trouble, is when you buy a new machine. I recently purchased a lawnmower. I believe all the machines now that are gas or engines on them have to be delivered without oil in the unit itself. And they'll ship the oil in a separate, ship the oil separately. It could be because if the unit is turned on its side or upside down, the oil may run out. So that could be a environmental precaution. But I'm sure there are people that will fire the machine up without putting oil in the machine, and that will definitely ruin the engine. So that's a major concern. Okay, there's packing. Now the generator itself. Let's see, I can't lift it that way. Put it to the ground. The machine weighs 47 pounds. Okay, this is from Work Zone. Is recommending that you check the oil. Doesn't say that you have to put it in, but it says check the oil. Okay, here's the pull cord. This would be the fuel tank, fuel screen. Okay, pull cord, fuel tank cap, vent on off, and we need to open this to put the oil in. This side, access to the spark plug. From my experience, one thing that I would recommend that you do is change the spark plug out. If it's, I had a generator in the past, it ran okay, however I had trouble with it starting, trouble with it running, and the problem is the spark plug. So what I would do is purchase a made in USA plug, and that eliminated the problem. The panel probably is to help keep the machine quiet, because I think this would be a pretty good inconvenience to have to check the oil. Here's the oil level, oil fill plug, and you have to, well, this is awkward to put in. you have to be real careful that you do not overfill the oil. The oil that we're using is a 10W30. It holds 11.8 fluid ounces. So we're under a quart. If you put a quart in, you're overfilling your generator, and that can also damage an engine if you overfill. Not only is this child-proof, it's adult-proof. There we have it. Okay, when you initially run an engine, there's a new engine, there's a break-in period. With this one, the break-in period is 5 hours. So after 5 hours, it's recommended to change the oil. And I usually use synthetic with any of my engines, and after the 5 hours I'll replace the oil, change the oil, and put synthetic in it. And I think what I'll do is save this container to use it to measure the oil, because when you purchase oil here, it's going to come in a quart. I did read the manual, and I did find a couple errors in the manual, a couple of places that contradicted itself. One of the errors was the volume of the oil. Instead of marking quarts in a U.S. measurement, they marked it as gallons. So they had this marked at 0.9 something gallons of oil. So I don't think physically a gallon could even get close to fitting inside there, even when it's overfilled. Okay, that's loaded up. You can't really see new oil on the dipstick. When you check the dipstick, it's not recommended to screw it in. It's designed to just reach in and touch the oil. The oil level for this will be right where the oil is coming to the bottom edge of that screw fitting, if it's setting on a level surface. So the best way is just to measure the oil that you're putting in, and then you have the right amount. Okay, we're going to button this up, put gasoline in it, and see how it runs. When you're running the generator, it's recommended to check your oil level daily, which that might be a little overkill. But to do this, to unscrew this and remove the panel, seems to be a pretty big inconvenience to be doing that. Okay, and then I'm sure all this shrouding is to make it quiet. The features on the front, it has sensors. It has an oil sensor, an overload, and an output. The output lets you know that it is generating power, that the engine built up enough speed that it can power up. Overload would be you put something in there that's drawing too much current, and that'll trip and shut it up from operating. And the oil sensor is if you get low on the oil, it will shut the engine off, which that's a real good feature. It could save your engine from burning up. So that also might save somebody that if they didn't put the oil in their machine, it should not even fire, but you still need to have oil in there to lubricate those moving parts. This has a 12 volt outlet, so you could charge auto batteries from it. It has an economy mode, which it will sense the amount of power that's being used. It'll slow the engine down to operate to just enough energy consumption to run what your load is. And that's the great advantage of an inverter generator, is electronically it can cut that load down. Has circuit breakers here. For the AC it's a 15 amp, and the DC it's an 8 amp. It has a 5 volt output that you can, with a USB plug, so you can run your electronic devices from this, charge items, which older generators, I never seen anything like that on them. There's a grounding terminal, so you can ground this to earth, and it has a feature for running parallel generators to double your output. Okay, then here's your 110 volt outlet. Your switch, you have the off position. In the off position, it turns the gas valve, shuts that off, and it also shuts the motor from running. Then you have the run position and the choke. When you start the engine, you turn it to the choke. When it fires up, then you click it to the run position. When you're going to run this, you have to have your gas vent open, or that could create a airlock and not allow gasoline to flow into the carburetor. Okay, I filled the gas tank. Now the starting procedure is you turn the vent, opened it up. You don't want to overfill the fuel tank. You want to leave some air space for the gas to expand. The problem that you can have, which I overfilled, you can't see where the level is. I mean, you're looking down inside, you can't see where it's coming as it's filling up. You can't see that level until it's already up the neck of the tank, which that's what I did. So the tank was already overfilled. So I'm going to run it to get the gas out to leave the headspace. Okay, now you want to turn your switch to the choke position and give it a pull, and let's see what happens. You want to pull the cord until you feel the resistance. 2 pulls and it started. Take it to the run position. There, it kicked up. The smoke's gone. And the green light is on, which means there is power. Now you want to, before you use it, you should let it warm up before you put a load on the machine. So this is the first time the machine has run, and it's pretty quiet, so I'm able to talk with the machine operating. Now this should operate under load for about 4 hours on a full tank of gas. In the economy switch position, where it's using the lower power, it can run up to 8 hours, which if you're using a small amount of power through the night, the generator could run the entire night. So that's a pretty good feature with this. Well, let's plug something in and test it. Make sure there's an output. No hesitation, and that's a pretty hefty tool. Well, with the size and the sound, the decibels coming off of it, I'm pretty impressed. And 2,000 watt, that's large enough it can run a small air conditioner. So this is running pretty much the same as what a Honda would do. So I think it's a real good investment. It's great for an emergency backup. If you have a power outage, you could run a refrigerator or freezer if you're concerned with losing power for an extended period of time. So there is a need to have backup plan installed in your lifestyle, which would include some type of a power backup, also a food reserve. To quickly recap, what I would recommend that you would do is make sure you put the oil in, make sure you don't overfill it, and change the spark plug out. Put a Made in USA plug. And go through a break-in period. After about 5 hours of running, change the oil, and I use a synthetic, and that gives you more temperature variation with the use of the machine. And hopefully this could help out in some type of emergency or power outage, like right now, hurricanes coming through down south, and we're going to get real heavy rains, and we're 1,000 miles away. Well, thanks for watching, my friends. Bye-bye.